Cool, amazing. I think we can start right now. So I'll share my screen and yep. Let me just share my screen. um, cool. I think I'm visible. My screen is visible. You can maybe just I don't know, add a comment or something like that if my screen is visible to all of you. Anyone? Just confirming if the screen is visible. Perfect. Perfect. Cool. And cool, let's begin, right? So I'll directly jump into the chat gpt and we'll start from very scratch, right? And initially I'll try to focus on some understanding some basic ideas around how to use chat gpt, what it is, and how to make the most out of it. And then we'll see some scenarios, taking some sort of case study sort of a thing, maybe, where we'll understand how it can help to bring the best out of its potential, right? So let me jump back. So yeah, the my I've already signed up to the portal, right? Sometimes you may find it difficult to sign up to the portal directly. So in that case, you can sort of check, like you have to join the wait list, right? And that's the only way, because of course there are so many people requesting to use the platform, so there is a lot of traffic, right? Cool. So let's start from very scratch, right? So what is ChatGPT? So this is an amazing tool built by OpenAI, right? Which helps us in every form of our career, in terms of whether it be any industry. It is really helpful, and I think it has replaced a lot of requirement of having a lot of people working in your company or maybe in your enterprise at the very high core level, like content strategists or maybe writers or something like that. I think these people are really going to struggle because of the potential of this tool. So what are the different ways ChatGPT can help in terms of let's say in terms of developer perspective, right? So it's really helpful in case you are trying to learn something. Like it can behave like a mentor to you, which is really amazing, right? And it will give you guides, and it will sort of allow you to understand things in a way which is very very unique and very much real, right? And you can understand different algorithms. If you are a computer science guy, if you're trying to learn data structures, algorithms and everything, you can learn through it. Like you can through basically not just algorithms, but you can run through any script and any source code or any code base, and it will sort of explain you what it does, which is really amazing. Because sometimes if I'm not aware about a particular language, and if I'm trying to learn that language, I would not be able to understand what that language is trying to speak to me, right? It's really helpful if ChatGPT does that for me, right? It is really amazing in terms of storytelling, or writing content, in terms of blogs or articles, maybe even YouTube scripts, right? And overall, there are many other benefits as well. I could not definitely I cannot cover all of it in a single session, but I'll try to cover most of it in terms of the engineering specific, or maybe tech specific or computer sciences specific, right? So let's start, right? I'll start with a very basic example, and there are various prompts available of ChatGPT online as well. You can check them out. I probably would write an article on the same. You can sort of subscribe to my newsletter for it as well, where I'll list down a lot of prompts, around 500 to 1,000 prompts, which will have very much helpful in your day-to-day life, right? Cool. So let's say I'm a very newbie, right? I don't know anything about development, and I want to build a web application. And I want to know how to build a web application, right? So I want to understand from ChatGPT how it can help me, right? So let me just write something, right? So I'd say, walk me through the process of setting up a development environment, right? Let's take this as an example. And let's say we are trying to build what we're trying to build a web application. For building a web application, amazing. So let's see what it says. And cool. So there you go. So setting up a development environment for building a web application typically involves the following step, right? So how to get started? We need a text editor. We need to install the software and tools, right? The database and the web server, etc., etc. We need to configure the development environment, right? In terms of the database connection, installing libraries, dependencies, and other things. We need to choose a framework on which our web project is going to sort of depend on, and we can start coding, right? So this is really amazing. Like, and test the application regularly, of course. And the next step is to deploy the application, correct? Let's see if it says something else as well. Yeah, perfect. So you can understand, right? For the same information, let's say if I'm a very beginner or I'm a fresher in first year of college engineering, right? I'd probably go to a YouTube video which is somewhere around 5 to 10 minutes long, but right now it's just few seconds, and I entirely have a summary of how a web application development lifecycle looks like. So just a very small example, but let's just move ahead and understand few more other use cases, right? So let's say I don't understand the use cases of pre-processes like SAS or less in terms of website development, right? So these are SAS and less or CSS pre-processes, right, which we use for website development. So I don't know what is a use case, and I want to understand that. So let me just add that as a prompt here. So what is the purpose of using a CSS preprocessor like SAS or less, right? Cool. Let's see. Um, so yep, it answers me directly, right? They provide additional features to CSS that are not available in vanilla CSS, right? And it also mentions the features, right? The variables, the nesting feature, of course, it's really helpful, and mixins, so you can sort of create reusable blocks, right, and use it in the multiple places in your style sheets, functions and operators, and various others, right? I'll not go much into the answers, but yeah, the overall idea here is to give that, it sort of breaks down a very complex question into small segregated parts, and overall gives you a summary of everything, right? So it gives you the approach in which way you have to think as a developer. So it's really helpful, right? Cool. So that was something related to very simple, right? And let's say I want something else, right? So I want chat gpt to be someone who can explain me algorithms, right? And I want it to give me or give me the explanation of algorithms in a context, right? So let's say if I ask it to explain xyz algorithm, right, and then I say abc, and there's a relation between xyz and abc, I want ChatGPT to remember that as well, right? So how can I do that? So again, ChatGPT works under cognitive learning, right? So every conversation that I'm having with it right now is sort of it's learned from it, right? So it sort of relates to it. So we'll see some very amazing examples for this as well. But yeah, uh, so let's say we want to use ChatGPT for explaining us algorithms, right? So how can I set some context to it, right? So I'll say I want to use, or let's say I say I want you to behave like an algorithmic explainer, right? And I'll set the context as where I will be, or let's say where I'll provide the name of the algorithm, and you explain to me how it works, right? Amazing. um, you can, let's say I know C++, right? So I say you can also use let's say C++ um, language um, code snippets if you want, right? Amazing. Cool. And then let's start with our first algorithm. So let's say selection sort. Let's go with a very basic one. So sort algorithm. Cool. Amazing. Let's see. Here we go. So selection sort, it gives us a definition, right? And let's see if it gives us a snippet as well, because I mentioned that it could give me C++ snippets. Oh yes, it does. So here we go. We have a C++ code snippet that implements the selection sort algorithm, right? Cool. This is really amazing, right? Let's try something else right now, right? Let's say after this is completed, I'll ask it to generate me or explain me maybe depth first search algorithm, right? So this is really amazing because it also gives us a time complexity in the worst case, right? So it's really important for from the development or from learning purposes. Cool. So let's try something else right now. So let's say explain def search. Let's see it understands. Yep, it understands the short form as well. So I say DFS, and it automatically recognizes that to be depth for search, right? And it understands that it is a graph traversal algorithm. And yep, it also gives me the code snippet. So this is really amazing, isn't it? So you can learn any algorithm with some examples directly at one place, and not really have to sort of surf through a lot many places, right? Cool. um, so that being said about very basic examples of how you can use ChatGPT as a for your learning purposes, so to learn something, right? But let's say I want to use it for content, right? I want to use it for writing my contents, or let maybe verify my contents that I have written, right? So let's start with a very short example which I have recently used as well. I kind of use ChatGPT for verifying my content nowadays almost regularly. So let's say, can you write me a short article on, let's say, give me a topic, maybe a hackathons, right? So let's try this, and it'll start writing, yep, a short article on it, right? And yep, if you see here, it's completely summarizing hackathon. The content is really great because I've checked it multiple, like from various people. I have, there are many people who have shared their insights as well of using ChatGPT content, and the insights are really amazing. So the content it writes is actually very high quality, and it's really really helpful for anyone to learn through. So yep, it writes me an entire article directly on hackathons, right? So if I try something very fun, right? So let's say I want to write a song on hackathons, right? So I'll try that as well. Okay, it still is writing my article. So as I mentioned, it's a short article. Yep, it will cover me into one, two, three, four, and five paragraphs. So it's a five paragraph short article that it has written for us. So this is really amazing, right? Um, cool. And so let's try something very fun. So write me a song on hackathons. Let's see. This is really strange and really out of the box. I am not sure what is it is going to sort of respond. Okay, so here we go. It writes me an entire code based hackathon related song, right? So it's really really amazing. Oh, amazing. So you have got a chorus section as well. This is fun. You can sort of play around with it a lot. Cool. um So let's say I'm trying to, sort of generate. I'm a digital marketing strategist or maybe an executive, and I'm trying to work around with keywords and for SEO and stuff, right? And my website is based on Web3, right? It's a Web3 product that I'm trying to sell, right? Or maybe list in Google. So what should be the keywords? In usual circumstances, I'll go to Google as analytics and sort of filter keywords and do a lot of manual work, right? But let's try to do it using ChatGPT, right? So I'll say it, right? Can you generate a list of keywords, let's say for SEO, right? For SEO for our website, on, let's give it a topic, Web3, right? On Web3 product. Let's see. And it does give us some keywords for use SEO optimization, and here we go, right? Let's see how many it does actually give, right? um, so basically it runs through the data and sort of gives us the most searched keywords, right? It's not necessarily related to the product right now, but if you observe this, right, NFTs or Web3 explorer, Web3 ecosystem, Web3 application, these are keywords which are like frequently used by a mass audience, right? So yep, this is really amazing stuff, isn't it? Cool. Let's say I want to learn something, right? And I want to learn something about a book. So nowadays, someone like me, right, who reads a lot of books, I do not really get the much of a time nowadays to spend time on book reading because of of course there's so much on the plate. But let's say I want to learn from ChatGPT the summary of a book, right? So I'll go back to the dashboard once, right? I would love to give you guys. Did not understand. ChatGPT window was not visible. Let me check again. I think it's visible now. Is it visible now? Anyone? Let me check. I guess it should be visible. Can anybody confirm me if the screen is visible? Okay, cool, cool. So this is what I've covered, right? I guess just I'll just summarize, right? So this is what I was talking about in terms of setting up a development environment using web application, and then what is the purpose of using CSS preprocessors like SAS or LAS, right? Um, then how to behave, an algorithm explainer, right? Just to behave it like an algorithm explainer for me. It does a job for us for selection sort, and then it does for the same thing for depth first search algorithm, right? Later on, and then we have asked it to write a short article on hackathon, so it does write us a short article on hackathons on with five paragraphs, right? It does write as a song as well on hackathons, as I mentioned, right? It generates us a keyword for SEO website on a Web3 product, which is really amazing, right? So this is what we have covered right now so far. But let's say if I want to learn some book, right, as I was mentioning, I want the summary of a book. So if you guys read books, just drop in which book you guys would love ChatGPT to sort of summarize, and I'll sort of add the same book name. Anyone, anyone who reads books maybe can sort of add a comment. Anyone who'd love to add some comment in terms of a book that you want ChatGPT to summarize for you? Cool. I'll try using something of my own maybe in that case, right? Cool. So I recently read the book, Bash Idioms, right? So I want maybe ChatGPT to sort of summarize me, right? So let's see if it actually able to understand, because Bash Idioms was a book which was released, probably 3 4 years back, and I think the data that it is feeding upon is until 2021. So let's see. I'm not sure, right? So let's see. So provide me a summary of the book Bash idioms, right? Let's see. um so yeah, it's taking some time. Okay, okay, so it does not really have access to Bash idioms, of course, because that's a paid book, right? um okay, okay, cool. Anyone else with any other book suggestion that you have? I'd love to take something from you guys. Anyone, guys? Let's make it more interactive. It can be easier for me as well to have some good session around ChatGPT. Cool. um so I'll try with some other name, maybe. Let's check it out. So let's try using maybe which one should I use? um Cool. Atomic habits. Let's see if it is able to sort of access this one. Yep, it does. So, yep, it does give me an entire summary of Atomic Habits, which is a international bestseller by James Clear. And so, yep, let's see how much it does cover. Information does it cover? Because the book is around 200 to 50 pages long. I hope it'll just provide a summary of 3 4 paragraphs. Let's see. Um, cool. This is really interesting, right? Uh, it covers the keywords that they have filled out in this entire book, right? Amazing. This works amazing, right? Isn't it? Cool. So let's try something else right now, right? We'll try to sort of find something related to you know writing code. Let's see, right? So let's say I want a chat gpt to act like a data scientist, right? And I want it to code for me, right? Because as an engineer I want to have a easy life, and I want chat gpt to code for me. So how can I set the context and do that, right? So let's try, right? um, so let's take a very basic example. So we want to write a python application for streamlit, right? So let's try with that itself. So write me code for sample streamlit application. Cool. It does give me a very sample application, right? Uh, cool. This is interesting. Um, just a minute. Cool. So it does also give me the ideas in terms of how to run the file and sort of display which function does what, and explains me the code as well. So this is really um, interesting. So okay, can you explain that? Yes, I'm coming to that, Rudolph. The business model. Yeah, I'll be covering that in some time. Cool. So this is really a very basic example of how ChatGPT can write code for you. The next thing I want it to help me is in terms of I'm not someone who has a very great infra, right? I don't have a lot of RAM in my laptop. I want to try out different operating systems, right? How can I do that? So I can ask ChatGPT to sort of behave like maybe a Linux terminal, right? So let's try to do that, right? So I'll say I want you to act as a Linux terminal. And so, yep, I have to give it some context as well now. So I'll say I will type commands, and you will reply with what the terminal should show. Cool, right? And I also want you to only reply with the terminal output inside one unique code block, right? Cool. And let's say I do not really want something else, right? I want it to act like a Linux terminal where I'll give some commands, it'll reply me back with what the terminal should sort of behave, right? And it should return me in a unique code block. So let's try this, right? So yep, please type the command and I'll respond with the terminal output. Cool, amazing. So let's say sudo, right? And let's see what it says. Okay, so it recognized that I'm trying to sort of use sudo, and it asked me for the password, right? Amazing. So if I say ls, amazing. So it sort of displays me what basic Linux system will have in their working directory, right? And let's say I want to go to cd home. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, it's not able to recognize now because it is not an operating system, of course. Okay, there you go. So okay, amazing. It actually creates me a user now. This is interesting. So it automatically creates a user for me, right? You can see, right, with an access level of user. This is really interesting. So if I say else now, I'm not sure what it should display. Let's just see. And so it's sort of displays me a list of users. Cool. So yeah, we can play around with it. You can sort of test your code maybe as well, right? With the same, right? Cool. So let's say I want it for my interview preparation, right? I want it to sort of behave like an interviewer to me. So how can I do that, right? So I'll again set the context here. I say I want you to act as an interviewer, right? Amazing. And so I'll again set the context. So I'll be the candidate, and you will ask me the interview questions for the position, let's say cloud engineer, right? Cool. um let's see. Okay, so it actually starts questioning me, right? Can you tell us about your experience with cloud technologies? And let's say I say average. Let's see what it does, right? um so it's sort of trying to understand this. Okay, so it's actually behaving like interview right now. And it, if I say one word reply, it sort of does not wants to continue this interview, and it wants me to elaborate my experience. So this is really amazing stuff, isn't it? Cool. So yep, that is another way you can sort of use it, right? Now you can also use ChatGPT for other stuff, like you can check for plagiarism, and sort of sort of compare different types of content, articles and blogs and every other thing, right? But this is being said, what we can do it from the platform, we can also use it for hardcore coding. So let's say in my industry, right, in DevOps, let's say if I want to generate a YAML file for a Circle CI pipeline, right? So I could just say write me um sample pipeline for Circle CI um integration test. Let's see. I guess it should return me with proper. Yep, it will return me with a sample pipeline, right? That runs on a Linux environment and test on a Python application with PyTest framework. So it'll directly write me down the entire Circle CI code. So pretty interesting stuff, right? And you can definitely try it for other use cases as well. And I have not covered problem solving, but you can try that as well. You can sort of copy paste questions here, and it will solve you the answers and also give you the solution in terms of explanation how it is solving. So that being said, I'll try to cover some tools now, which are integrated with ChatGPT that you can use in a daily life, which I use, right? So let me directly jump into my Gmail, right? And so I'll take any example, right? So let's take one, maybe. Yep. So all right, let's take some other mail address. I'm not sure which one should I use. Cool. So this is a mail from DigitalOcean, right? And probably I like, let's assume that this was a mail given to me by a user, right? This is a advertisement mail, but let's assume that it is a user mail, right? And I want to reply this mail. So I'll just click on reply right now, and if you see, right, we I have this icon here, which is a ChatGPT integration, right? Which does it's a ChatGPT writer, and it generates the email reply for me, right? So I'll just go here, I'll click on it, right, and it automatically fetches the entire mail context, right? So as I mentioned, ChatGPT works on context, and I can ask it in terms of what to do, right? Try to reply to this email, or you can save the examples as well, right? You can reply to this in the German language, right, and other things, right? So let's say generate reply, right? Let's see. Okay. So it's currently says I'm not logged in because I'm using some other account, but yeah, it will do the job for you, right? So this is an amazing tool, right? Let me just show that tool to you guys as well. So this is ChatGPT writer.ai. Let me share the link. So you can definitely explore this one for other purposes. It really does the job for a lot of things, right? So if I just go and paste it, right, it'll sort of extension, I have to make sure the extension is active, and pin my extension, and then I can sort of give the context and write the replies and paste it to my mail, and then directly send it, right, just like this, right? This is really helpful for interaction in corporate space in case your English is not really strong or something like that, right? So yeah, definitely give it a try. I'll also use some other tools, right? Just give me a minute. Cool, amazing. So yep, that's one. The another thing that I would love to show you is a tool for chatbot applications, right, or chat extension for your application, right? That's there. So I'll just go to the place, master of code, right? Yep. Uh, yes, amazing. So again, you can check this out as well. It's really amazing. This is based on the backend in ChatGPT, and they're using it for different purposes. This is an enterprise level product, and does a lot of job in terms of so the best one is chatbots. Like the chatbots are really well trained and using the ChatGPT API, and yep, definitely an amazing tool. A must recommendation as well. Cool. Just a minute. Cool. Let's say I'll also try to cover a few more extension, right? Which are really amazing in terms of understanding ChatGPT and making the best out of it. There is another known as Rep Chat API, right? Right. So this is a Web Chat API website, right? Yeah. Let me just directly jump to the Google extension. Um, yep. Um, Wait a second. Let me change it to Web Chat GPT. Yep. So you can directly install this extension, right? Chat GPT for Google, right? And if you see the number of users, have more than 600,000, right? And it will allow you to sort of work around with different markdowns, like whenever if you're working around with sort of readme files or something like that, or like anywhere, right? Basically, if you add it to an extension and sort of ask a coding related question, or maybe something, you can just copy paste some content and ask it for some summary of it. It'll summarize it for you, and yep, there are other things as well that you can try out. So this is really amazing, and you can definitely sort of try this out. um, There's another tool, which is a ChatGPT writer, which I already explained, right? There is something known as OpenAI ChatGPT Power Assistant, which is Merlin. So let me show that as well. So this is a ChatGPT Power Assistant, right? It is sort of like Google Assistant or Siri. You can consider it to be like that, but it is sort of handles anything that you want it to handle, right? In terms of Gmail, LinkedIn, GitHub. In case you say to write down some code as well, it will help you to do that as well. So this is really amazing. Definitely give it a try as well. So okay, I'll share this links as well, maybe. Um, Cool. So this is Merlin, right? So definitely give it a try, right? There's another tool which is for YouTube. So I'll say YouTube summary with ChatGPT, right? So if you do not really have a lot of time to, sort of learn around videos or sort of spend time with videos, you can give it this one a try. It sort of summarizes YouTube videos for you pretty quickly, right? And in just a minutes of seconds, you just paste your YouTube video link, and that's it. You're good to go. So do give this one a try as well. Um, Next one that I have on my list is a Tweet GPT. This is specifically for Twitter. So let me jump into that. Yep, Tweet GPT, right? This is used for generating tweets. So in case you want to write some amazing tweets from different types, like different kind of positive or negative, right? Or controversial, it'll sort of generate everything for you. Um, so yeah, you can try this one as well. It's a pretty interesting tool. I kind of don't use it much because I prefer to keep it my channel content, in terms of social media content, to be myself. But yeah, definitely you can play around with it, like sort of explore. There's another tool known as Summarize, right, which is used for, again, like the YouTube video summarize itself, which sort of you can use in case you don't like the YouTube video summarizer, right? Say Summarize Google extension. Yep, yep, yes, there we go. This is Summarize, and it's sort of anything that you want to summary, let's say article or research papers as well, it'll sort of do that job for you, right, in very short, right? So amazing tool. Make sure you give it a try. And every Google extension, right, that I'm mentioning right now, you need to have sort of have them pinned to make them, to have them, use case every single time you are visiting a web page. So make sure you do that as well. um, there's another amazing. The best part about ChatGPT is the prompts, right? So if you do not know proper prompts, you'll not be able to make the most out of it. So there is something known as Prompt Genius, right? So it gives you proper prompts based on your context and what you can use for ChatGPT to generate the best content for you. So let me. So this is like ChatGPT doing ChatGPT work for you, right? So let me just go here. ChatGPT Prompt Genius. Yes. So yep, this is ChatGPT Prompt Genius, right? And it helps you to share, import, and use the best prompts of ChatGPT, right? And it also saves chat history locally for you. This is really amazing in terms of if you really have some great content generated and you don't want to lose it, and maybe you want to use it later on. This is the thing to use for, right? Is DALI useful? Of course, I think every OpenAI tool is useful based on what is your requirement. Yep. I have other tool as well. Another is Prometheus, right? This is for converse with ChatGPT, right? It sort of has this sort of adds the ability to receive mic input directly to GPT, right? So let me show you that as well. I hope the spelling is correct. I don't not really use it much, but yep, I've heard about this tool and this is really amazing. Yeah, prompt here is Converse with ChatGPT. Yes, cool. So you can use your own voice to talk to ChatGPT here, right? And you can just hold the space bar and talk to ChatGPT. So maybe just give it a try. And definitely, sort of give them the stars as well, because these tools are amazing and it sort of helps makes life much easier, right? I guess, Karan, I showed some amazing demos in terms of how ChatGPT is useful for programming. I think in everyday programming, it is really useful. Um, No, I don't think there is any subscription yet. No wonder. There is nothing yet. It's completely free of cost. Cool. The last tool that I have is Fancy GPT. So let me show that as well. So I'd say Fancy GPT, and yep. So this is sort of used to beautify your GPT threads, so GPT conversations. You can change it, and sort of explore, or sort of sort of share it as images, PDFs, and text files, right? So this is really amazing, and definitely great in terms of you want to share Chat GPT content in LinkedIn or any other Twitter or something like that, right? Cool. So, yep, that is some amazing tool that I've shared. I've shared almost 9 to 10 tools today. So do give them a try, and do give ChatGPT a proper try as well, right? And this is a really amazing tool. Makes life much easier. And so today it was more of a very generic session. I try to cover few things, but there are so many things, right? There are so many industries. But in case you want us to host something very specific to a particular industry, make sure you add it to the channel requests, right? And we'll definitely try to host something around it. So yeah, that's it for this session. Thank you so much everyone for joining in, and yeah, we'll catch up in the next session.